All right, so I guess this is, at least as I'm recording this video, it's gonna be the last style of this that I'm doing. But then again, like I stated, I think a couple videos ago, I'm not gonna be too surprised if a day or a day that I don't, or that I won't be able to go out and do my POV shots like I'm gonna start doing tomorrow or next video. I might bring this back just for once or twice. So although I am gonna say it's gonna be the last, it probably is not gonna be the last. So, but for now, for day 44, as I'm gonna transition for the next video, I'm gonna call it my last. But we'll see how that goes. But let's just get straight into this and let's not waste any more time. So with this photo, although you guys can barely see it, let me just kind of go in here and expose it. So if I can recall correctly, I think this was day 41. The video that I said that I think I was in a time crunch, and then I think I spent some time after that I was not able to record for a couple days, which I'm pretty sure it was day 41. I took this, believe it or not, I wouldn't say in the middle of my night shift, but yeah, I think, yeah, this was definitely at the time that my night shift was occurring. So I was here, I guess you can say, in the heart of Alexandria, downtown Alexandria. And just the way how these lights were, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, you probably won't, but in here, in this photo, probably a little bit forward, you see the George Washington Monument or museum, memorial, I'm not entirely sure, but it was there. And as I was making a U-turn, I just so happened to see this street just filled with, and really just still with their Christmas lights on in the middle of May at this point. Unfortunately, I don't have any behind the scenes footage for that because that was kind of something I needed to do quick. And if you guys can see from the photo, I literally went into the middle of the road just to kind of get that lead in line for this photo. So again, it's not that I have any behind the scenes footage. I could have included behind the scenes footage, or I could have went out and just been a little ballsy and just went ahead and recorded with being in the middle of the road. But at the time, there's police officers roaming around the streets. I think this was taken at roughly 2 a.m. in the morning. So no one's out there except for police officers. So just imagine if they see me just in the middle of the road with two cameras, one being my Sony and then another being my X4, right? So again, I not that I didn't want it to include, or I didn't want it to make any behind the scenes footage, but it's just that in a way I kind of couldn't, because again, I was in a little time crunch. But nonetheless, I got it. Personally speaking, I actually really liked how this came out. Well, not so much the raw photo because we can't see it, but after some edits, hopefully after some changes that I do, this may come out looking a pretty alright photo. Not gonna say my favorite because I'm sure I've had more favorite photos, but depending on what happens, I'm gonna like how this turns out. So we've done a little bit of our basic adjustments. Since this photo is leaning a little bit towards the warm side, that's the goal. I'm gonna push it a little bit towards the warmer side. I have went ahead beforehand and I did test the masking, and I can just say rightfully so, we're not gonna probably utilize masking in this photo. Not because, I wouldn't say there's no need to, but maybe it's because there really isn't a need for it in this photo. One idea I did have at least of like maybe attempting with masking was with these individual lights here. Since they're a little bit, I don't know, what would you say this? They're a little bit foggy. I don't know if it's because my filter wasn't cleaned or whatever the case may be. but I don't like how they're kind of, I don't know, popping out too much. So maybe, or an idea that I had beforehand before recording was I was gonna go ahead and put a radio grading to each and every single light and just see what happens. But after looking at it, I decided, and you know what, I don't think there's a need to. I wouldn't say that there's a need to, because again, um, that's just, it's just no need, and maybe, who knows, maybe as I'm editing it may actually look pretty nice. So far I've done somewhat of an S curve, or just a little adjustment on the white. Now I'm just trying to go back and forth and seeing which one would be a nice balance for this tone curve, because again, like I stated, since it's gonna be towards the warmer side, we are definitely gonna be more on this blue curve than the rest, because with the red and the green, I'm kind of playing around, as you guys can see, but it's not kind of coming out the way I like to. Again, what's the main goal of this photo? To be fair, just seeing what the hell I can do. So I'm trying to play around with the tone curves and just seeing what clicks. But I don't think there's much change needed for these tone curves. But I think after some adjustment, alright, personally speaking, I like that it kind of, I mean, mostly I wanted to raise up the blacks, because originally it was kind of clipping in some parts. Well, not now, but before in the raw image, it was kind of clipping in some parts. But I think I got a little control with that, so we'll leave that be. I can already tell you guys, yeah, this photo's not gonna require a lot of dramatic changes. It's just subtle changes. Again, what we really just needed to do, or what we really just needed to accomplish, was just exposing the whole photo, which we've already done with our basic. But anything else, it's just going to be minor tweaks at this point. Again, we're not going to utilize masking, because again, there's no need to. And I checked, the software was not detecting not a subject, not a background, not even a sky. So there's no real point on trying to include masking if there's no need to, right? That's basically what I'm trying to say. So right now here with Color Mixer, again, just playing around with the colors, seeing what pops. Since we've already kind of got that little warm mood to it, I'm just kind of, in a way, balancing the two, so it's not too warm. Again, that's what I'm at least trying to do. So again, not too many changes for this photo, and to be honest, this may be a short video compared to the others, but we'll see what happens. Now, I do see here, since this is kind of a little bit too, it's a little bit too harsh, what we can do is maybe decrease, or we'll just leave that be. And I actually kind of like that, actually, believe it or not, so we'll just leave that be. So color mixture, that's done. With color grading, maybe if we were to, I could just push it more towards the warmer side, but again, I don't know how that would look. So maybe if we find a nice balance between either the yellow side or the blue side. And maybe as I'm looking at it, it may be towards the cooler side, just so we can kind of get a little balance and not make it too warm. Yeah, and I think in all fairness, we'll do that instead. So maybe a slight increase in saturation as well. I think, okay, well, we'll come back to that if we need to, but I think for right now we should be good. Now for shadows, since it's probably going to be the majority of the photo, we'll put the shadows, because I don't know, I guess an inspiration, kind of like with last video, I guess an inspiration I'm kind of having at the moment is when I did my long exposure photo at a time period that was my most favorite photo that I've edited in this journey. I can't remember which day it was, but I'm trying, not that I'm trying to recreate that image with this one, but I'm kind of having a little inspiration from that in a way. I don't know, just the way how I was able to manipulate, I guess, the colors from a nighttime shot and then kind of make it to, I don't know, what would you even call it, that, like that image, that kind of mood, that tone. In some way, I'm trying to recreate that, but again, I'm not trying to fully dedicate this photo to make like another part 2 or however I did that, right? So that was definitely one thing that I had in mind coming into this photo, but you know, as it kind of stands right now, maybe I should just see what I can do, and if it works out good, then we'll just leave that be. So with highlights, it's barely anything, but I think we got a good balance between the whole color gradient, because if we were to hide it, okay, yeah, all right, we kind of got a good balance, so we'll just leave that be. Since we're with detail, would we need to sharpen the image? Although I could see that there's a little bit of noise, but again, at this point zoomed in, would anyone notice? But maybe just a slight increase with sharpening and detail, and then just maybe an increase with luminance, and then with contrast, something very minor. Again, not too much to worry about. We did some changes. We'll just leave that be. Transform, again, not really. Although if we were, let's just, what change did I see? Very minor. Auto, to be honest, I don't know what the hell auto does, but sure, I guess we'll just leave it. Again, I don't know what auto does, but we'll just leave it like that. So who cares? Lens blur, I did actually went ahead and tested this out. So I guess what lens blur and all, to be fair, what it really just does is kind of creates like a layer of bokeh already to the photo, so it would work best for portraits, right? That way here you can see, or you can, I guess, add in after the fact a bokeh layer to, you know, if it's your subject or behind the subject, whatever the case may be. Personally, for this photo, no need to, because again, there's no subject here, but if it's mostly would be utilized in portraits. Now, as I was in effects, maybe there was a portion of me that wanted to create a vignette effect, but personally speaking, I think if we just don't, because the vignette effect on the corners is gonna kind of, I don't know, underexpose the edges, and just quite frankly speaking, just the whole photo with no vignette in, I think it looks better. Again, like I stated last video, I normally utilize vignette effects when I have a subject that I want to, you know, kind of make the subject stand out. That's when I more use vignette effects. In this case, again, no subject, no reason to add in a vignette effect. That's just me personally, right? Now, with this, I'm just, again, having a balance with calibration, although I still don't know what the hell this does. I'm just seeing what I can do. But I think personally speaking, alright, so I've done everything except for lens blur and effects, because there's no need to. Again, masking, no need to. These other two, no need to. So if we just do a before, it's quite frankly underexposed, the whole photo, nothing to see. Now with the, how we have it right now, we just mostly exposed it and then just did some quote unquote color corrections to the photo. Personally speaking, I really liked how it came out, but you know, I'm gonna take a few minutes here, like always, and see if there's anything else I can add in. But I think as I look at it, I think there's no need to. So I don't think there's no need to, but I'll see if I can find something else. Okay, so I went ahead. I was really trying to see if there's anything else I added in. I just barely, slightly, although there's probably, you guys probably didn't even notice it, just went ahead and just slightly adjusted the red primary on calibration. And then very slightly with the whites here on the exposure tone curve, I went ahead and decreased it because beforehand it was like that, and I was seeing it's clipping on really in all the lights. So I just slightly decreased it, and with the red tone curve, just something very minor that again I wouldn't be surprised if you guys noticed it. But in all fairness, I think that is gonna be it for this photo. Again, this wasn't too much, or this wasn't a photo that required too much change to begin with. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely one that I really enjoyed taking, well, setting wise, but unfortunately, again, no behind the scenes footage for that. But setting wise, I really liked how it came out. And I think after the changes we made, I think it came out nicely, because if you guys saw beforehand, it just was underexposed. You guys could really only see the lights, really, because that was the only exposed portion. Then after the changes, I think we made it relatively better, just mostly exposing it and then quote unquote color correcting the colors here. Kind of made I think the photo stand out and just bring it a little bit more to life. That's been really for me, right? I liked how it came out. Nothing too major or nothing that we really need to adjust or alter in this photo. Just something minor, just mostly with the sliders, and that's really it. But as far as it stands right now, again, as I'm recording it, this is the last style of video that this is the last video I'm gonna be doing this style that you guys are seeing, right? So again, for right now, it has come to an end. 44 days into this journey, and again, with day 45 and hopefully continuing forward, my plan is to shoot POV style videos now, and mostly be able to edit more than one video or more than one photo every single video, right? That has been probably my biggest reason as to why I'm changing the style of videos I'm doing now, mostly because I've already stated it many times, and I don't think you guys want to hear it again, but one video, one photo, 20 minutes, I'm sure I can do better. And plus, if I go out and do POV shots, I'm hoping at least it would challenge me to be more creative, right? I can only hope, but we'll see how it goes. But I guess in a way, this is the end for this style. Again, for now, I'm sure it's probably not going to take too long before I come back for this, because I wasn't able to go out and shoot POV style photos or videos. But we'll see what happens. But as far as it stands right now, this is the end of it. So I thank you all so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed this little series I had, I'd appreciate it. And I do appreciate the people who have, I guess, started since day one and followed along in this little series that I had going on. I really do appreciate it. So we'll see with the next video, day 45, we'll see what it brings out, and hopefully if I like it, well, that's the future for this journey that I have. But that's all I have to say, and hopefully with day 45 we'll see what happens next.